What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about KASPA. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, or if you want to hate on me, because I know that you guys are a ruthless community. I get the most hate from KASPA than I do from any other coin, and I call for it to go up every time. But this video might deserve some hate. It's going to be different than what I've been saying lately. I've been looking at the chart more, and I have to say I don't think it's actually going to see the prices that I've been calling for, which are anywhere from like a 10x to a 20x from here. I actually don't think that's going to happen. I had one guy because I called for Doge doing a 40x this cycle at the most, doing a 40x this cycle, right? He was laughing at me, but it's like he's like, you don't think KASPA can go up? Well, KASPA's moved up like 9,350%, or 9,350x. So you can laugh at the thought that I don't think KASPA is going to do a 40x from its current price, but when you see the whole picture and you're not just standing on your toes looking at the moon, using rational thinking, like yes, I do think that from here on out, KASPA will underperform Doge. Doge will outperform it, but that's not the point of this video. That's not the point of this video, you guys. The point of this video is you've got double bearish divergence on your monthly chart. That's a big deal. It's a really big deal. There's a lot of time left in this month. Okay, there's a lot of time left in this month. 19 days, 20 hours, 20 days left. Okay, you're only down 12%. For KASPA to move up 12% in the course of 20 days, it's not a problem. It can absolutely do that. It could do that in a day. It absolutely could. But if it doesn't, if this month closes red, what this would imply, at least in my opinion, would be that your next move up, wherever that top is, that's your cycle high. It's that serious. It is genuinely that serious, and you can laugh it off all you want, right? This is like a warning video, right? And I hope that later this month, as it looks like you're closing it green, I hope I'm like, hey, that warning doesn't even need to be considered anymore. It's gonna move up. You're fine. You did what you needed to do. You moved up 12.18% now. You did it. But if you can't do it, things are going to be a bit bleak. Okay, and let me just go over why. Right, as far as divergence goes, oftentimes you get one drive of divergence, and that's enough to dump you. The monthly chart itself is the most significant chart on a regular basis. You can look at 3-month time frames, yearly time frames. KASPA hasn't been around that long. A monthly time frame doesn't even give us that much information. But this in itself is a big deal. But you have a second drive. What gives this two drives? There's 3 peaks. It takes 2 peaks to have one drive, another peak to have 2 drives. That is 2 drives of bearish divergence. High, higher high, higher high. High, lower high, lower high. That's bearish divergence, okay? Classic. That's double bearish divergence. This double bearish divergence would go away if this month closed green, because now instead of this having a like little bend in it right here, a focal point, you would actually have it moving upwards, right? It might even look just like this, but at least it wouldn't be divergence. You don't technically get divergence until you have a red candle printed. There's a lot of time left. I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is more of a warning video. The most that something can really diverge is three drives of divergence. Okay, like once it gets past 3, and you can get like 4 or 5 drives of divergence on your monthly chart. That's like very, very uncommon. But when you get past 3, it's no longer divergence. It's actually more of like you're just living in the overbought zone, and that's actually a really good thing. But generally speaking, you don't anticipate that, right? You look for highs, especially on the monthly chart. And what I'm getting at is, if you close this month red, likely what would happen is you have one more move up. Maybe you even, because it's your cycle high, maybe even throughout that month it looks like you're up here, but then you sell off, and by the end of the month you have a lower high than this high is now. And that would give you your third drive of bearish divergence. Triple bearish divergence on any time frame is scary, okay? But on your monthly time frame, even more so. It's very, very not good, okay? You're in a precarious situation. On your weekly time frame, you've got a double top off of your overbought zone. That's not a good look, guys. It's really not a good look. You bounced off your 60. You should have moved up into your overbought zone, and you didn't. You jokers want to be like, oh, well, you did move in. No, you didn't. You rejected your overbought zone on the second one. Yes, you're barely in it, but no, you're not. getting below your 60 is indicative that this is kind of serious. And the reason why this is also serious is this kind of implies that you have more downside to go. Yes, you've turned here, and it is an area, to be completely fair, I said this in my last KAS video, right, that I made yesterday, that you have bounced in this specific area, which is nice to see. A few times you have. You need to bounce here. You need to not just close this week green, but you need to get some follow through. You need to see new all-time highs soon, okay? And if not this week or next week, what you certainly need not do is close below this week, like at all, before you get to these new highs. It's that important. And you can treat it how you want. I know a lot of you just like brush this off, right? You're all moon boys and moon girls, and really it's a lot of dudes. I know, because only dudes talk trash the way you guys do. I played Call of Duty when I was a kid, man. I wish I could play it now, but I have a 2-year-old, and I can't devote that time. Oh, I wish I could, but high to low, you hit your 1272 a couple times. This does look productive. It does, to me, look like you would see a 21 to 24 cent price target. New all-time highs should be coming. So do that. Don't close below this 886 again. Don't close below the 786 especially. You really don't want to close below that weekly, but I'll be completely fair. If you close below the 886, I think, or if you close below this week but you hold the 886, I'll give it to you. I think you still have hope. But if you close below 14.3 cents, that could be bad. It could be very, very bad. And the reason why it's bad is there's a lot of time left in this month, okay? About 20 days. This divergence right now looks like this. If you go lower, you're only going to be lower in your RSI, which would only mean that you could move, you've got more room to still leave this divergence to form, even if you move up next month or the following month, right? I don't know how much sense this makes to a lot of you, because I know a lot of you don't really, you don't do technical analysis. You watch other people for technical analysis, and the people that do technical analysis on KASPA largely only see $50 prices. $50, $100. I saw one guy talk about. There was one guy in the comments, man. He said, and I'm not trying to make fun of you, but this is ridiculous what he said. He was like, if we assume that crypto could see a $10 trillion market cap, it's really not that crazy to think that KASPA could see a $1.2 trillion market cap. That's minuscule in comparison. Dude, do you hear yourself? You're talking about KASPA claiming 12% of the whole crypto market cap. It's a new coin. It came about in 2021. It's like earliest trading history that we have is May. Right? A lot of you try to say too, I've had a couple of you be like, KASPA existed before 2021 or before this date, right? That it existed back in November of 2021. I know that. But why are you telling me that? Why don't you tell that to all the bullish people, right? They use the exact same charts that I use. They have a different outlook, but they use the same charts. They don't have a chart that goes back to November because there's no price action before then. Bitcoin's first notable price action, any crypto's first notable price action, most of them existed before then. It's called a pre-sale, right? It's called pre-exchange listings, right? Nowadays, before an exchange listing, we actually have dexes, so you can kind of have your price action generated earlier, which is nice. I think it's, the more history, the better for any coin. A lot of you just, I feel like, fail to really see this for what it is that this is a new coin. It is a new coin. And that does mean it has a lot of potential. It really does. And I think KASPA does have a lot of potential. I would certainly buy it if it sees a significant drop. But what I'm alluding to, the whole thing that I'm getting to, is that from a high to a low point here, you've been holding this 1272. You really might top off. Your cycle high might not break 40 cents. It might not. This is what all of this means. You might hit 24.15 cents and that's it. You might hit 38.6 cents and that's it. That's literally it. I'm not saying this as FUD. I'm not saying this to like hurt anybody's feelings. If it hurts your feelings, you need to like grow a pair, because like just genuinely, man, this is, I know a lot of you're laughing at the idea whenever I talk about $1.15 to just under $4. Like when I'm talking about this range, right? I can't imagine how many of you would be left holding your bag if that's where we topped off. And you can see it. You can see it right now. KASPA is curving over. And all of you can say, well, what about the power law? I did a video on that. I don't know what else to tell you. if this is curving over and it looks like what I've seen a lot of these charts do that look like this, right? You might be at the end of your ropes soon. You might have one last drive in you, and then it's done. And oftentimes, in comparing KASPA, someone asked me to compare. Well, man, you guys are very devoted to this coin, and I admire it. I really do. But one of you guys asked me to do a crazy thing, which is, why don't you compare it to all altcoins? It's like, you want me to go over all the thousands of altcoins, man? Like, how am I going to do that? I did on my own time. I actually went through and I measured how far each altcoin dropped after their first cycle. And the average that I got, I literally went through like over 100 coins, okay? I literally did. The average drop for the average coin, and not even the average coin, every single coin dropped over 90% on their first cycle. Every single coin dropped over 90% on their first cycle, okay? If KASPA's all-time high happens to be where I'm hoping it's not, I hope it goes past $1. I hope it grows even past where I'm projecting it at like $3.30, right? But if its all-time high happens to be here or here, that'd be like the highest I would give it if this bearish divergence thing comes to fruition. A 90% drop would take you all the way back to the Stone Ages, man. And it's not a 90% drop. The average is actually 93%. As you get lower, like 0 to a 5% drop is not the same as 90 to 93%. 93, that 3% difference when you get to 90%, it's a lot larger. I'll show you what I mean just real quick, right? So you take this same area, right, at the top. Look at that, right? This little bit is 18%. You're at 90.4% right here. Look at how far I go down just to drop. I'm gonna put it at 90% here real quick. Hold on. We'll do this, okay? 90% right there, so you can see it visually with your eyes, right? It compounds, because some of you might not be aware that negatives are just stronger than positives in this kind of scenario. You can just see, right, how this white space is a lot larger than this is up here, right? It's a lot larger. It's almost twice the size, okay? That's like an 18% drop. That 3% difference is significantly larger. It compounds as you're going from a, so anyways, the average is really, it's like anywhere from 92 to 95% of a drop after its first cycle, okay? Most coins, by the way, that pump over 1000x, they're the ones that drop the hardest. They're the ones that drop outside this average. KASPA, from the earliest that we have on this historical reference chart here, has already pumped, dude, that's 10,000%. 10,000x, I'm sorry, a 10,000x. It's insane. It's insane. Like, it really is insane, guys. It's a good job, bravo. But how much further can you go? I don't know. You did a 10,000x in the course of 2 years. And you think it's just going to keep going. Maybe it does. Not by much. It's not going to do another 10,000x by the end of this cycle. You know, you're at 16.68 cents right now. Some people are talking about like $10 by the end of this cycle or higher. I mean, that's like a 60-something x. You know, that's a lot less crazy, but it is so crazy. But that's a lot less crazy than some people. Some people are calling for $50, talking about a 300-something x overall, right? Even if you did go up to like $5, now you're talking about dude, it's like a 200,000x. It's not going to happen. It's just not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I really don't. I don't know what else to say. I'm talking about all these projections. These are all just opinions right now, but getting back to the facts, right? Getting back to the facts of the matter. This is a bit of a warning video. I'm sure I lost a lot of you already because you only want to hear that it's going to touch the sky. You've touched the sky already. You already have. You've got double bearish divergence on your monthly right now. If you close this month green, that goes away. You just have regular bearish divergence, and at which case it already fulfilled itself. I think you're fine. Good. Then those price targets that I was originally calling for in one of my other videos, my like more in-depth video on KASPA, not my last one, but the one before. Let's see, would have been this one, Power Law, that one. You know, the all-time highs that I was calling for would give it like a 40 to an $80 billion market cap, right? That's around like like $1 to $3.40 or something like that. Those are back on the table, but you have to close this month green. It's that important. It really is that important. There's always a chance that anything can happen. You know, perhaps you close this month red and then you close next month green and then you keep going. Like it can happen, but the odds are not in your favor. Like they're really not in your favor. You're only down a little bit more as I'm talking. It's like it's hearing me talk, and it's like I'm gonna go. I'm scared. No, it's only down like 0.2% from whenever I started. It's not a big deal. 12.2%. Now it's going up. See, it's like I'll show you. 12.18%. Surely in the next 20 days you can recover that and close this month green. You don't even have to close it green by a lot, just neutral even, but not red. Don't close it red. And especially don't close it lower than this. The further down this RSI goes before the month is over, especially if you had a lower low, the worse of a setup it is for you. And I would expect that you still have one more run left in you. Well, it wouldn't be like that. You know, you'd come down, you'd have one more run left in you, but that would only take you to about 24.1 cents to 38 cents. And again, if this month closes red and then next month you see the RSI up above this high, that would negate the bearish divergence, but you have to wait for the month to close. Odds are when you get your all-time high, when you actually set your all-time high, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, you get a big wick and then you come down to close the month, right? So just because you see it above there doesn't mean that you've broken it. I don't know what else to say. I feel like a lot of this might be going over some people's heads, right? It might be falling on deaf ears. I know, and not even might be. It probably is. I don't want to see anybody lose money, man, and I don't want to see people miss out on the rest of the crypto market because they're holding something that's literally going to see a 90% correction when it tops out, and that could be starting now. Okay, most of the time, whenever cryptos top out, whenever stocks top out, it's whenever there's the most bullish atmosphere, the most euphoria surrounding it. Marathon just announced that they are mining KASPA. That's a pretty bullish thing, and KASPA hasn't moved since then. How is it that you moved up all this time with all these fundamentals that are amazing? It solves the trilemma, which I just think is BS, but it solves the trilemma as that just seems to be the new thing. You guys have your little catchphrases that just seem to keep coming around. And yet, it's not growing. It's a big deal that Marathon is mining KASPA. They're making money, man. They're mining KASPA at the all-time highs. All the people who were mining KASPA before, you're now up against, all the KASPA miners, they're now up against Marathon as competition. And Marathon, again, they're probably going to sell most of their KASPA because they need to make money. They're a public company. They have stockholders to answer to. Everybody, all the miners have to sell their KASPA. Of course, they got to keep the lights on. I get it. But private companies or personal miners who could compete before the big dog literally came in, that is Marathon, you know, they might not sell as much. They might hold on to some as like a bit of interest. You don't have to sell all the KASPA you mine. You know, it's not like that. But for Marathon, I would assume they're probably selling a good bit of it, especially at these prices. You're at all-time highs. This company knows probably that it's not going to be long-lived up here. And if you think that KASPA, if you think they just started mining it when they announced it, that's not true. They probably started mining it months before them. But anyways, guys, that's all I got to say. If you hate the video, hit that like button. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.